Within my media products that I have created, I have used many different forms and conventions of real media products. One convention that I have used is the rule of thirds. I stuck to this by using the bottom horizontal third in my film poster. I got this idea from looking at many different film posters, such as Insidious, Saw, and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I chose to use the bottom horizontal third as people are familiar with this form of layout and will therefore straight away recognise that this product is a film poster. The bottom horizontal third is important when designing a film poster, as this is where the viewer's eye is straight away drawn to. This means that in order to get the audience's attention, the bottom horizontal third needs to be used. Without the rule of thirds, the viewer's eyes would not be drawn into the title, which may lead to the film having a lack of viewers, as the audiences will be unaware of what the film poster is advertising. When looking at the film posters from other horror genre films, I realised that there is little writing and a lot of image. I took this into consideration when developing my own film poster and decided to use as little writing as possible, making sure that the image was the main focus. I also used the strapline, "Someone is always watching you," which is a typical convention for film posters. Within my main product, I've used a variety of camera angles. The camera angles that I've chosen to use are typical conventions of horror films. However, my camera angles also challenge the typical conventions of horror films. One typical convention that I used was the camera angle close-up. I decided to use this angle as I felt it would be a shock for viewers with sudden close-ups of my characters' faces, in particular my scary character Gretel. The close-up camera angle is a typical convention for horror films, as it is used to give dramatic shock to viewers when they least expect it. Another camera angle that I used in my main product was the long shot. This angle was used to give viewers an idea of where the location is set. This is also a stereotypical convention for horror films, as it is used to identify to audiences where the film is being set and where the main location is. A camera angle that I used that is not conventional for horror films was the zoom. I decided to use this convention as I wanted audiences to be given an extreme close-up of the character Gretel to give emotional pleasures of view. Another convention of horror that we chose to stick to was the music that we used in our main product. It is conventional of horror films to use creepy, mysterious music, as it reinforces that the film is from the genre horror. We decided to stick to this form of music as we felt it will make our main product recognisable for audiences, and they would know from the very start that the trailer is advertising a horror film. Using mysterious music in our main product creates an intellectual puzzle for viewers, as the audience will constantly be wondering what's going to happen next. When listening to the music, you can hear the sound of certain objects such as a child's toy. We hear this when we see the images of Gretel becoming closer to the camera. This sound adds to the tension being built in the trailer. The sound of a piano instrument is also in the trailer to show the slow-paced actions until the faster-paced music and actions arrive. In my main product, I also stuck to the typical convention of the representation of a young teenage girl. The use of a girl or young child is often represented in horror films as it emphasises how vulnerable the character is. I chose to use a girl who has blonde hair and blue eyes to play the role of the girl being haunted. I chose to do this as I felt it would reinforce that the girl is vulnerable to audiences. An existing product that our product compares to is in the representation of a young child in the film Halloween. As you can see in the image, the young boy is holding a knife. This creates the impression that the young boy is vulnerable and unable to protect himself from any danger. Another convention that is used in horror films is the rapid flashes of fast-moving images. I decided to include this convention in my trailer as I wanted to build up to the climax relating to Freytag's triangle. I have done this by starting off with calm music and slow shots of my character, Gretel, until eventually making music faster paced and the shots quicker, leading up to the final climax. On all three of my media pieces that I created, I decided to use the colour red for the titling. This is a typical convention of the film horror, as audiences automatically link the colour red with blood and violence. I used this convention to attract audiences to my film magazine, poster, and film trailer. I have also done this to reinforce that my film is from the genre horror. My media product also challenges a lot of forms and conventions of real media products. One way that this can be shown is through my magazine cover. On my magazine cover, I chose to use an image as the main background. I also chose to not overlap the title with the image. However, on real media products that are already existing, this is not a stereotypical convention. Through my research, I have found that overlapping the title on magazine covers is often done as the magazine is well established and does not need the title to sell the magazine. Also, the image overlapping the title is often a well-known actor or actress. I decided to go against this convention for my magazine cover, as even though the magazine would be well known, audiences would not know the film as it is a new film out, and the actress on the front cover is not well known. Therefore, if I were to place the actress over the title, the magazine may not sell as well. Mise-en-scene was also used in my film trailer, both contradicting and reinforcing typical horror film conventions. This was done through the use of outfits that I used for characters, as they were not conventional. In horror films, the character's clothing is very dark and unfashionable. However, in my film trailer, I decided to keep my character's clothing fashionable, as it would appeal to my target audience of 18 to 21-year-olds. I'd done this in the film trailer by dressing our character, Rachel, in clothes that would be seen as fashionable by my target audience, such as the leopard print dress and the red heels. The reason I chose to do this was to keep my target audience interested in my trailer and to make them feel that they could relate to the film. My mise-en-scene also reflects the use of typical conventions of real media products through the use of lighting that I decided to use. I used non-artificial lighting as I wanted our trailer to be shot in the dark, giving audiences the impression of gloom and mystery. This is a typical convention of horror films, as producers want the films to be as scary as possible. My product was aimed at a targeted audience of 18 to 21-year-olds. This uses typical conventions of horror films as they aim their products at young adults. This is done as children are too young to watch the age rating on horror films, and adults tend to lose interest in horror films and the thrill of being scared through emotional pleasures of viewing.